And that was the musical break and courtesy of Bella Combo, taking us to 24 minutes to the top of the hour, 8 a.m. This is Hope at Dawn, right here at Hope TV, where you look and you live. Actually, it's not Bella Combo. The song is Rehema Simfukwe. Sorry, yeah, Rehema Simfukwe. Bubujiko is the title of the song, and it's taking us to 23 minutes to the top of the hour, 8 a.m. My name is George Gishoro. Thank you so very much for your company. Let us look at what is being reported now in the dailies. Daily Nation, they go with the headline, Revealed the Path to Senior High Schools. You remember we have had this conversation right here at Hope at Dawn on Mondays. Actually, the last, 3 Mondays. Yeah, we have had a series of the same, and you can go back and watch and learn a few things on the same. But here is how the path to senior high schools will be looking like. Ministry is expected to issue new categorization of schools according to pathways available in each of them. So the key points are selection of senior schools will run from May 26th to June 15th. That is the first step. And then placement to be done in the National Education Management Information System, NEMIS. Then learners will select 12 schools. First choice, 4 schools. Second choice, 4 schools. And third choice will also have 4 schools. Now, 9 out of 12 schools should be boarding. 3 from learners' home county and 6 from outside the county. And then placement will be based on the learner's choice of pathways, merit and academic performance. And then science, technology, engineering and mathematics STEM pathway tracks, pure sciences, applied sciences and technical studies. Arts and sports science pathway tracks, arts and sports science. And then social sciences pathway tracks, language and literature, humanities and business studies. And then schools will be designated as either triple pathway or dual pathway. And that is a story very interesting. And if you have a child, that is a story that you need to read. It is covered on pages 4 and 5 inside the Daily Nation. Then I hear there's another story here. UHC staff occupy Afya House, make demands. Now, workers under the Universal Health Coverage Program protest at Afya House in Nairobi yesterday to demand improved salaries, better working conditions, and payment of a service gratuity for the 5 years they were served under contract. That story is on page number 2. And then I see here a story, City Hall Askaris implicated in sex for hawking space scandal. A hawker narrates before a county assembly committee how Kanjos routinely solicit for sex from desperate traders to spare them from harassment. Despicable story there. Unfortunate story being covered on page 3 inside the Daily Nation. And then I see Mwilu faces Oster over Gachagua impeachment case. The petition against the Deputy Chief Justice follows a High Court ruling that she usurped the powers of her boss to appoint a bench of judges that lifted an order blocking the swearing in of Professor Kithure Kindiki as Deputy President. How that story unfolds, we wait and see. Still from the courts, court blocks Ruto's housing project in Langata, order derailing president's pet plan, the latest in a string of losses his administration has suffered in court. It's a story that you can see on page number 7. On page number 10, there is a letter there, and it is a letter from Orengo, and they say Orengo's letter to Ruto and his state house isolation. So Siaya Governor James Orengo is increasingly being sidelined by allies of President Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga for his opposition to their deal. It's a story that you can get on page number 10 inside the Daily Nation. And so that is what's happening. And then there's an interesting here. Mutura refuses to change despite modern wake-up call. Unajua ile mutura unakula pale, si mtu, ile mutura pale kwa kibanda. Unajua? Na kachumbari kwa umbali. Na hiyo moshi. The delicacy hiyo. wacha tusiongee hiyo, it's very early in the morning. Tutaanza kupata njaa. So that is what is being reported in the Daily Nation this morning. We shift gear now from the Nation to the Standard and what they are reporting this morning. And the Standard, they go with the headline, Name the Abductors. That is what the headline on the Standard is reporting. Name the abductors. And so there, of course, there's a picture there of a police Land Cruiser, and three men were wearing black hoodies trying to arrest someone who's a protester, actually. And so accountability. President William Ruto's response to a journalist's question on Monday turned out to be self-incriminating, opening the door for renewed calls for him to acknowledge state-sponsored killings and abductions related to the Gen Z uprising. Pressure is mounting on the president to follow his admission with concrete action by naming the perpetrators and bringing them to justice. It's a story that is on page 4 inside the Standard, and there are some people here who have responded to the same. David Maraga, the retired Chief Justice, he says such utterances are deeply hurtful, especially to parents still mourning the loss of their children. How long shall the lives of innocent Kenyans be so devalued and dismissed? That is what the former Chief Justice is asking. And then Martha Karua, the leader of People's Liberation Party, says, now that Ruto has acknowledged abductions, he needs to go further and acknowledge extrajudicial killings and disappearances and take steps to have the culprits, including those captured in the BBC documentary, held accountable. And then Hussein Khalid, the CEO of Voco Africa, we are ready to present these families to meet with President Ruto at a place and time of his choosing, so that he may hear firsthand from those whose loved ones are still missing. Healing and justice begins with acknowledgement, not denial. And yeah, this was and continues to be a very painful story, especially to those families who lost their loved ones, lost their children, and lost their fathers and mothers as well, but also for families that are still having loved ones still missing from last year's protest. So that is the story is covered inside the Standard. And nurses to strike over delayed permanent hiring under UHC. Read that story as well. And then Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has vowed to restore order among Miraa transporters who are blamed for dangerous driving on Kenyan roads. That's also covered inside the Standard. And for James Gakuya says, if you are fired by UDA tomorrow for supporting a different party, then the big question is, why is UDA in bed with other parties that were not mainly in the coalition in the beginning, but at this particular date in bed? That is what he is asking. And then the pullout this morning, the Enterprise pullout inside the Standard. Private equities bid to de-risk SMEs. It's on page 4. And then state ropes in mid-sized farms in new policy changes. That's on page 3. And young innovator cashes in on solar-powered pest trap. You get that story on page number 6. Then Business Daily. Getting to get some business stories. They say Dangote-backed fund buys Kenyan tour farm for 4 billion shillings. Nigerian tycoon enters tourism market with Pullman's buyout. PE fund makes second major deal after Java. Front page and page 2. And then super rich shift cash to UK, Dubai on Gen Z protest. All right. So the number of Kenyan dollar millionaires dropped last year as the rich moved cash abroad amid uncertainty in the wake of Kenya's slowing economy and last year's deadly youth-led protests which hurt fresh investments. Front page and also on page 3 inside the Business Daily. And contractors in the building and construction sector defaulted on more than a third of loans they took to undertake projects, underlying the impact of stalled government projects on banks. And NCBA Group directors, including Chairman James Ndegwa, acquired an additional 8.09 million shares with a current market value of 404.9 million shillings, raising their stakes in the Nairobi Securities Exchange listed lender. And savings and credit cooperative societies, SACCOs, advanced 91.6 billion shillings new loans in 2024 to households and businesses. That is what is being reported in the dailies this morning. Grab your favorite copy, get to see what is being reported. Let's continue to pray for our nation. Right about now, we take a short break, and this is to pave way for the video of the day.